Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my live today. And today is going to be a very special live. I'm super excited. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Today's live is very, very special because today's guest is very, very special. I do get a lot of question about fertility because when we're talking about sexual health or sex, we constantly keep comparing it, or we only know sex in terms of procreation. And so it pretty much comes down to having a baby all the time. And I'm not a gynecologist or an obstetrician, so I am actually not really well versed with the fertility side of things. I'm more a sexual health specialist, and I probably do more dermatology, venereology, sexual and reproductive health. So, to put all of you and your questions to rest, I have a very, very special guest today, and her name is Dr. Cuterus, who you all would definitely know or probably following. And she is Dr. Thanaya, and Dr. Thanaya is an embryologist from Oxford, and she does some fantastic job in terms of obstetrics and gynecology and sexual health and fertility and a whole bunch of things. So it's amazing the kind of work she does. So I'm going to have her as my guest in today's live. So I am pretty much waiting for Dr. Thanaya to join me, and she will be joining us anytime soon. So I am going to wait for Thanaya to join us. I'm super excited because considering, me and Thanaya have been talking for a while. We've never had an opportunity to really do a live session before. So I'm super excited about it. Hello. Hi, how are you? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Can you guys all hear me? Can you say yes? Am I audible to all of you? Hello, yes. Can any of you respond to me? Am I audible to all of you guys? Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining me. I will send another request for Thanaya.
Hello.
Hello. Hi,
It
how are you? It works. Thank you so much, Thanaya. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you. It's actually, I'm super excited to host you. It's a privilege.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, absolutely great. And I keep getting 1 billion fertility questions, which I have no answers to because I don't do anything related to obs and gynae or fertility. So I think it'll be best for you. I have introduced you already. So with a lot of stuff. So I think I've said it right. So I'm going to jump straight into the questions, right? So as you
Wonderful.
know, in India, most of the time sex is all about procreation rather than recreation. And I think when we talk about sex, most of the time people are associating themselves with fertility and having babies and stuff like that. So I want to hear from you, just for everybody to understand what exactly is infertility. When should one actually worry about whether something is going on wrong with them? How long should they try? What would you have to tell for that?
So the general cutoff we keep is the age of 35. If you've been trying for a year and you're under the age of 35 and it still hasn't worked, then you go see a doctor. If you're over the age of 35 and you've been trying for 6 months, what I mean by trying is you're having regular unprotected sex on the day that you're supposed to be ovulating or sometime around it. So yeah, if you've been trying for 6 months and it still hasn't worked, then you see a doctor. It's a very, very simple cutoff. 35 and younger, 1 year, 35 and over, 6 months. And yeah, that's a fairly decent statistic. Most people that try unprotected sex for a year, 92% of them conceive within the year. So
perfect. That's very good, I think. So let's say they are younger than 35 years of age, and there's a lot of, right, pressure in the house about falling pregnant, and all of these things. So I really want to know if stress is something that is making it really difficult for young people to fall pregnant.
absolutely, stress interferes with the way our body creates the right hormones that are important for developing not just our eggs but also the sperm. So high stress situations, emotional trauma, all of these things can impact our fertility. And reducing your stress with lifestyle measures or just managing it better can definitely help in enhancing your fertility, but it's not the solution, it's not the cure. Sometimes people do need help, and it's really awful to go to say to somebody who's trying that, oh, you just need to chill out. I mean, that's not the right thing. But yes, being very, very stressed out can hamper your fertility.
Perfect. Good. See, my next question was very related to that, as to what are probably the factors that usually cause infertility in somebody.
So there's a whole variety of reasons. We can link everything from stress, like we mentioned, to smoking, to recreational drugs, to chromosomal issues in the parents, to hormone issues in the parents, to issues with how the sperm, either their number or how they behave, because sperm are supposed to move in a very specific fashion. So the way the sperm behave, the number that's there, the way they look, the defects in the sperm. The same way with the eggs, a lot of people produce the right amount of eggs, but they don't ovulate at the right time. A lot of people produce poorer quality eggs. A lot of people just don't produce eggs. So a wide variety of things, but the best way to keep up a good fertility, I don't know if that's the right way to.
I mean, yeah, I know. I'm sure they're getting what you're saying.
But the best way to sort of ensure the best chances for you to have your fertility in a nice level is to make sure you follow a good and healthy lifestyle, you manage your stress, and you don't smoke, and you don't take recreational drugs. And if you do take them, you don't take them when you're trying to conceive. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I was also, so now that we're talking about all this, the most commonest reason, at least people think that they are not falling pregnant, is probably PCOS, right? And I keep getting people saying that I have PCOS. Am I going to have a baby, or am I going to be infertile? So they're extremely concerned. Or I think there is also like a myth that anybody who has PCOS is going to struggle to have a baby, or so difficult to have a baby. So just a couple of lines on what is your take on PCOS and infertility. Does it mean that if anybody has PCOS, are they going to be infertile, or should everybody with PCOS be really worried about this?
So PCOS definitely makes it difficult for you to get pregnant for some people, but that doesn't mean that anybody who has PCOS will become infertile by default. And it's sort of a two-step thing. So we don't quite understand exactly why there's an issue with PCOS, but see, think of it like making an omelette. When you have to make an omelette, you need an egg and you need a plate to serve the omelette on. In the same way, when somebody's trying to get pregnant, you need an egg inside that you produce, and then you need an endometrium, or the inside lining of the uterus, where you can plate the omelette. There can be issues with both of those things. You can either have issues producing the egg, or you can have issues producing your plate, which means that causes issues with either a pregnancy happening in the first place or a pregnancy carrying on in a healthy fashion. So there are lots of options also available for people with PCOS who struggle with fertility, and it's best to speak to your doctor to figure out exactly why this is happening with you and why it's happening for you. But yeah, lots of reasons where things can go wrong, but having PCOS doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be infertile.
I always like how you give these examples, it sounds very interesting. I love it. I'm sure you're reading it that way, right? When you're reading, I'm sure you're understanding it in the form of an egg or an omelette or a plate. And
otherwise I'll forget it.
Yeah, it's so easy to remember, and I think it's excellent how you
Thank you.
kind of reach to a common person in that way, no? Like,
Thank
they
you.
it makes more sense to them, which is fantastic. I love it, Tanaya. Good job.
Thank you.
So sorry, I was also going to ask you. So the minute we talk about fertility, I think there are a few important questions that comes up these days, and one of the commonest things that most people are aware of is IVF. So I am not going to go into the depth of IVF because IVF itself can be a really big topic, and there are several steps and too many things into it. But what I commonly get asked is people say that I have tried for a year and a half. I'm not falling pregnant. Do you think I should go for IVF? So what would you like to tell those people whether, like, can they make their own choice that whether I need to go to IVF, or what is like IVF? Is it good for everybody? Just say a few words, a few takeaway lines about IVF, because let's not go too much into it because that's a whole topic on its own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So just
massive
like a few
topic.
lines for people. Yeah, just like a few words, people to say that who they should go and see, what is the thing. Just a few words about IVF. That's it.
So normally what happens in a pregnancy is we get sperm inside the body and it meets the egg and it makes a baby. Now sometimes there's a problem with any or all of these steps. So what we can do is in a controlled environment, we can take out the egg and we can take out the sperm and fuse them together in a controlled environment in a lab. So, and then put it back inside the womb so that it can implant. Now, to figure out do you need IVF or not, you need to speak to your doctor to figure out where exactly the issue is for you. You know, for some people, just having certain supplements can improve the sperm quality. For some people, having certain procedures can improve the egg quality and things like that. So, obviously, this depends totally on your doctor's consultation. But IVF is a stressful procedure that works for quite a lot of people. So
Fantastic.
there is a lot of emotional and financial cost that goes into it. It is
Yes.
stressful,
Yes.
but it works for so many people. We've had more than 5 million children born from IVF across the world in the 40 years it's been there.
It's
So
just
yeah, I think
amazing, isn't it? The change it's made in people's life who want babies. Like, I'm sure
it's
it makes a
absolutely
big difference.
fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's great. I'm sure so many people appreciate that. So that's great. And because we're talking about fertility and IVF in women, I also wanted to bring that it is a very common thing in India when people are trying to fall pregnant. And if somebody hasn't fallen pregnant, the blame almost goes to the woman. It's almost like something is wrong with her, and people around her kind of try to encourage her to go and get all the tests and stuff like that. So I really want you to actually talk about the possibility that men who are also trying to conceive, what is the percentage that you see that there is a good chance that it is the men who's responsible for this, and should and how they should go and get these tests done, and how important it is, because it's not just enough if the woman goes and gets tested and then you go straight to IVF,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really important question because so often it's just that, oh, the woman will get treated and she'll be the one who will get it fixed. When in fact, what we understand at this moment is that one third of all infertility cases are due to a woman's issue, one third of all infertility cases are due to a man's issue, and the remaining one third are due to issues common to both or unexplained infertility. So a whole one third is due to issues that can crop up in men. So it's not fair to say that it's a woman's thing, because you need two things. In Hindi we say tali ek haath se nahi bajti hai. That's a very
exactly.
Brahmi thing.
Yeah.
But it can't just
But
be
that
one side.
happens, right? Like that
Yeah.
happens in our place, and I still see a lot of women trying to somehow fix this and fall pregnant, while the men have really not gone and get tested at all or had a look at them. So I think when we're talking about fertility and when we're desperate for people to fall pregnant, and I think it is important that both men and women get involved, and it is very important that they do that. So it's nice to hear that from you, and I have heard this from you several times, and I'm going to ask about that. That is about the egg and preserving the egg, and I think it is absolutely fantastic because these days everybody wants to do it later, or wants to settle down in their career, want to focus on their education, build up their life, whatever, and then be able to have babies without the stress of feeling like they're getting old or it's a bit too late. So I really want to ask you about, just say a few words about it. And I also want to ask you, because I keep getting asked by people about the cost, or is it feasible for everyone, and and things like that. So tell me a little bit about freezing your eggs, um, and whether it's feasible for everyone.
So that's a really, really important addendum before I even start on this question, is that it's an expensive procedure. I have been wanting to get it done for a while, but it's the finances that balk me out of it because it's a lot of investment.
Is it? Yeah.
So on an average, the procedure itself will cost you anywhere between 1 lakh to 3 lakh rupees. And then you need to pay yearly maintenance costs to
For the egg, to freeze the egg.
for them to maintain your tissue. So it's not an option for everybody. We'll be very honest and upfront about that. But if you can afford it, I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's like having money in the bank. You can go and spend all your money, but there's a little bit of security that if in case you do need help, there is some support. With that said, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you have eggs frozen, it's not a guarantee that those eggs will work well and you'll get a pregnancy. But it's a very nice.
That was going to be my next question, because if you spend 3 lakhs and you freeze these eggs, is it, I mean, can you tell people you spend this and you're definitely going to have a baby? No.
No, we can't in good faith say that.
No.
There's also a very important related question here. Can women get pregnant after menopause with the help of IVF? Now, it is done, and I think 3 of the oldest mothers in the world are from India, actually. But we don't recommend it because, I mean, yes, you can get that done. You can use frozen eggs, you can get donor eggs and stuff like that. But, it'll be such an elderly mother that they'll find it very difficult to take care of a growing child. If somebody's 70 when they have a baby, then by the time that baby is 10, the mother's already 80, So it's not something that's very highly recommended.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But in case you do want to freeze your eggs, you can definitely walk up to your nearest IVF center, find out if they do any freezing. You don't have to be married for this. You can get your eggs frozen for social reasons. Some people also get it frozen for medical reasons. For example, if somebody is going to have cancer chemotherapy, that can damage your eggs, so you can get it done. Some people, before they undergo gender reassignment surgery or gender confirmation surgery, they can choose to save their eggs or their sperm. So yeah, you can just speak to your nearest IVF clinic. They will do a blood test to figure out how much you already have inside you and how strong they should give you medication, so that when they do the procedure, instead of every month, we make 1 egg in our body, 1 mature egg. So instead of making 1 mature egg, they'll make 15 mature eggs. So it's a taxing procedure in terms of the stress that happens to your body. But they'll figure out a protocol for you, see what works out, and then harvest eggs from you.
Fantastic. So if somebody wants to know, do you know how much is the cost for maintaining this egg?
It's different everywhere. At my hospital, it's 20,000 rupees a year. In certain hospitals, it's 2 lakh rupees a year. So, it varies.
Okay. And does the cost of IVF also vary from hospital to hospital? Because somebody's asking about that. Okay.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of places that offer IVF only. For example, most of the big IVF chains in India, they only give you IVF, and then for all your antenatal care and for your delivery, you have to go to another hospital.
Perfect.
Some are more all round.
Okay, right. And sorry, somebody also wants to know, so can we just purely do blood tests which indicate to see about our quality of your egg?
Not the quality, but the number. So there is a very simple blood test. It costs about 1,800 rupees. It's called your AMH test. And they you just like a rough idea. And some people also get this done for PCOS. So with this, you can have an idea. If, say, your AMH is very low, then you're not planning a pregnancy immediately. Say, for example, my AMH is 0.5, and I say don't want to have a child for the next 5 years. Then in that case, I know that because there's a long time and I might run out of eggs by then, so I should do a freezing procedure now. So it gives you an idea of what decision you should take if you can afford it, and if that's a part of your plan, depending on how many eggs you have.
Do you think that kind of brings anxiety to people doing the AMH, and then you're trying to, if it's a bit low and if they can't afford the 3 lakh, it's almost like your clock is ticking kind of thing, right?
It's
Yeah.
very disappointing and frustrating that women have to bear the brunt of this, but we do.
Yeah, true though. It's interesting that you said that. Sorry, there's also another question that they want to know. Does thyroid level affect a person's fertility?
Absolutely. We aim for a thyroid level under 5. Now, having a thyroid level over 5 is not pathological, which means it's not something that necessarily needs to be treated in somebody who's not trying to get pregnant. But if you are trying to get pregnant, hitting it under 5 shows the best results. So, high thyroid levels interfere with your hormone production and can interfere with how regularly you get your periods, which means it can affect your fertility. So if you have high thyroid levels, speak to your doctor to see to go on medication and figure out why this is happening and how to control it.
Perfect. That sounds great. And I think that's a lot of questions that you've answered. I'm going to throw some common questions that I'm going to that I get all the time again. Can I masturbate every day and will that affect my fertility?
100% you can masturbate every day. We make in men in particular, they make a new batch of sperm every 3 months. So it's stored in there. You can get rid of it or you can let it die inside. It doesn't do anything. If you are going for IVF, they will ask you to abstain for 1 day so that you can store up a little bit more sperms, but it doesn't really make that big of an impact. Go masturbate as much as you want.
Because I think people are extremely worried about that.
Extremely.
Yeah, yeah. I have to stop you and ask you, are you having Baileys or cold coffee?
It's cold coffee. I can't
No, it's a good thing. No, it's a good thing, Tharaya, because my favorite drink is Baileys, and I'm thinking, please don't tell me you're having Baileys because I feel like that now. No,
I
that's
discovered
great.
something lovely called Amarula, which is like Baileys, but it's like more coffee-ish, and it's so good. Yeah, it's so nice. We don't get it in my city. My brother was in Bombay. Yeah, it's some African drink. My brother was in Bombay. He picked it up there. It's fantastic. It's better than Baileys.
Do you have it just on ice or milk and ice or?
Yeah, just like Baileys. Just have it on ice.
Just like Baileys. Yeah. Yeah, that's so good, right? I like it. I'm a very Baileys sweet tooth Moscato person.
Yay, Moscato.
Yeah, I know, right? No, we should do it another time. But anyway, when I come to India, I think we should do it. Definitely.
100%.
Yes. I can't wait to meet you guys. Okay, the next question is alcohol and smoking. So I have been having alcohol and I've been smoking in the past, but then since I have got married or we're trying to have a baby, I have not been doing it. So doing it in the past and stopping it and changing over, does that actually improve your fertility or I have already caused damage to it? Because people ask that all the time.
It's a frustrating answer because for men, they get a refresh button every 3 months. So if you want to start trying after 6 months, you want to quit now so that you get 2 batches of clean sperm, and then from the 3rd batch onwards, you're fine. For women, we're born with the ultimate supply of eggs we're ever going to have. So any smoking now is going to damage that ultimate supply. So stopping now is good because it stops further damage, but there's already a certain degree of damage that happens from smoking at any point at all. Having supplements, having a good lifestyle can help alleviate some of that damage, but not completely.
I think that's very interesting and very important because a lot of the people do tend to think that, oh, I'll stop it when I'm going to fall pregnant, kind of, stuff, which is I think very important information. That's fantastic. Thank you. Exercise. So does exercise alone, like let's say I'm trying for a baby and then as a part of quality of life, people start eating healthy, people start doing different things when they're trying for a baby. So does exercise play a big role in fertility?
Absolutely. Exercise is known for releasing feel-good hormones. It's known for alleviating your stress level. It's known to alter the sort of bad cholesterol and good cholesterol in your body. It's good in all sorts of ways, and low impact exercise also. It doesn't have to be CrossFit or it doesn't have to be running up a mountain. It's just 30 minutes of walking every day can make a massive impact. So yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. And I think that's most of it. And is there any natural stuff that people can do to make their fertility better? Like, for example, is there any particular diet that people have to follow? Is there any natural stuff that they can do before they head off to see the doctor on their own?
So as far as studies go, there's very little evidence that supplements do much. The only supplement that has the most evidence behind it is a special kind of honey that you would know about. It's Manuka honey from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So Manuka honey has the most evidence that we've seen so far for improving sperm quality. There is a little bit of evidence that all of these other things help, but the essentials, you know, vitamin A, D, E, K, folic acid.
Folic acid.
Yeah. And something called coenzyme Q has shown some decent results.
Yes. All these vitamins have this coenzyme Q now, right? Like in the sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And L-arginine also has some decent results, but we don't have anything conclusive yet. That's the issue. Okay. So these are good things to have in your body anyway. So you might as well just throw them in, but don't go in with the idea that
it wouldn't hurt if you throw them in, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I have gone through everything that I wanted to ask you about fertility, and people keep actually asking me, and I disappoint them saying I am not sure. And let me just see if I have a few more questions that somebody else has asked. So can somebody who have had kidney surgeries, you know, and stents fall pregnant? Is a kidney surgery difficulty in falling pregnant?
I mean, it depends on the kind of surgery and the kind of medication you've had. This would be a very specific question to ask your doctor. By itself, kidney surgery is not known to be an impediment to your fertility, but I honestly don't know what their clinical background is to know what's happening here.
Do you think bowel adhesions and post-surgical bowel adhesions have people have a problem in falling pregnant naturally?
So sometimes if people have bowel adhesions, that means they have adhesions everywhere, which means they can also have adhesions in their pelvis. Is my uterus here? No, it's not here.
Is my uterus there? Of course. I love it.
I'm doing the live from my original house, and I've moved all my stuff to my in-laws house now.
I was going to say that because it doesn't look like where you and your hubby moved, because you have that uterus picture on the wall behind. Yeah.
So all of my models are at my in-laws place right now. But basically, I mean, look at this model, for example. We've got the little tubey things coming out, and sometimes if there's bowel adhesions, that means these tubes can also get stuck. And these tubes are like the highway from where your egg gets picked up, and also the place where the egg meets the sperm. So if there is bowel adhesions, there's also a possibility that there might be adhesions here, which means there could be an issue with conceiving, but not necessarily. Again, this is a very, very specific personal type of question. I think this involves a full consultation to figure out exactly what's happening.
Perfect. Because I think when people have different kind of individual health issues, it is very difficult to give a generalized answer saying this is going to work for you or not, because obviously it's all individually catered. So I think it's like you said, Tanya, it's very important to go and have a chat with your doctor, because they're going to personally then answer your question and, you know, how your things are going to be. So I guess that's about it. So I think we did well. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. So finally we meet. So that's good.
Thank you. It was so fun having this conversation with you, and we must meet for Baileys and Moscato the next time.
That's correct. We definitely should, because I can't wait for the borders to open, and I'm really looking forward to come. And I was thinking maybe Delhi is a good spot to halt, right?
I'm moving to America in 16 days now.
No, I thought you were doing NEET exams.
No, I was doing my MRCOGs, not my NEETs.
Oh God, because you know how you were traveling for your exams and stuff. I just assumed you're doing NEET.
No.
No, but that's good though. That's good.
That's
America
fine.
Needs you. No, but look, I mean that's the best thing about the internet though, right? I mean, we all can be anywhere. We still do what we do. So good luck.
I'm going to hit Australia very, very soon to come and scuba dive. So expect me there soon.
I will be very cross if you don't meet me, Tanay. I'm telling you. I mean, very cross. You have to make an evening, you and your husband. You have to come and
100%. It will be a Moscato evening.
Absolutely. We're going to have fun. Can you imagine?
Wonderful.
It will be sex and Moscato. It'll be good.
This is my idea of perfection.
So it'll be good. So please take care.
It's been so fun. You too.
I know. Same here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.